Looking at a map, you probably wouldn't even notice this small town in Kansas. This must have been what a man named Pat Vernon had thought when he set up shop here in 1924. Born in Virginia in 1898, Pat had faced little resistance in his life. His parents, Grace and Thomas Vernon, ran a successful tobacco farm and had the means to provide Pat with an easy childhood. He very much had the road paved for him. After graduating from the University of Kansas in 1919, Vernon moved with his fiancée, Emily, to the town of Ransom, Kansas. They built a house to start a family in. Their first child, Clementine, was born their first year in the house. Vernon spent most of his time attempting to develop medicinal remedies for common ailments and sold them to local residents in neighboring towns. After working in Ransom for nearly 2 years, Vernon's products caught the eye of local preacher Charles Harrelson. Harrelson was astounded by the work that Vernon had been doing. Unbeknownst to him and most people at the time, these and many other remedies had no actual basis in science or medicine. Harrelson made a generous investment in Vernon's business. In the following years, Vernon became a cornerstone of the community in Ransom. His products flew off the shelves, and he had become a very popular man, especially at the church where his products were effectively advertised by the preacher. When Emily Vernon died suddenly in 1927, the town was heartbroken. She was seen publicly as a loving mother and was active in the community. Her passing would also increase sales greatly for the Vernon family business. The following year, Pat would marry Jenny Easley after meeting her in a neighboring town. Soon after, in 1931, Pat and Jenny Vernon would welcome a second daughter, Sarah, to the family. Business was still booming. Charles Harrelson was now effectively a managing partner, distributing Vernon's miracle cures to all of the churches in the surrounding towns. Pat would remain a local hero in the town for years to come. Tragedy struck again in 1935 when Pat's second wife would die at the age of 25. Again, the town was devastated. This time, Pat would not remarry. He became reclusive, still manufacturing his cures in his home. Nobody saw much of him and his daughters following his second wife's passing. Harrelson still made frequent visits to his home. Fast forward to 1940. Vernon's product is well known and consumed all over the state of Kansas. The Federal Bureau of Investigation would come to Ransom on the 3rd of June to speak with him. He wasn't home. The investigating agents would coax Mr. Harrelson into letting them into his home to take a look around. What they would find would shock them. In the back room of the house were the two Vernon children. They were found tied to bed frames that were propped upright against the wall. Both were dead and clearly malnourished. Old bloodstains covered the floor. It was assumed that Mr. Vernon had been tipped off to the arrival of the agents and fled after killing his daughters. Much to the surprise of our federal protagonists, the news was not received with shock by the townspeople. They would later arrest the preacher Charles Harrelson for his involvement with the Vernon miracle cure business. He confessed that the blood and urine of the two daughters was used when making the elixir. He also confessed to raping Vernon's second wife, Jenny, before helping murder her. It is believed that the entire town was aware of the goings-on at some level, and urban legends say that the church still has a stockpile of the miracle drink. Today, Ransom sits quietly in the middle of western Kansas, passers-by and visitors all unaware of its chilling past.